we find that intuition, and again, this is probably coming from my personal experience, that's why this question's coming out. When we get to the point where we're trusting ourselves and we feel we're getting guided, like you said, life is happening to us, but we still need to make things happen. Sometimes I find I go down into these deep things. I feel the spirit, again, whatever you want to call it, dragging me in directions, but I've struggled to put that into motion, if that makes
Mm.
sense. So
Yep.
again, it could be happening to a lot of people. Everybody's trapped in this circle, this rat race, and sometimes you might get into a state of mind where you want to take action. And I work with a lot of people that want to take action on different projects, different things that mean something to them, help them with purpose, but then they get distracted by the rat race again and they get out of it. So
Yep.
how do we take action in that moment and, I don't know, follow that intuition, but make it
Yeah.
happen for us rather than waiting for it to happen to us?
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. So just to clarify, there's two states of being. There's the victim, right? And there's the creator. The victim says that life is happening to me, right? I'm
Mm,
essentially a victim of life. The creator says that life is happening for me and it's happening through me. So there's a difference there. When I'm in life is happening to me, I'm essentially a victim of circumstance and I'm just constantly reacting to life. And that's not an empowering state to be. But when I'm in the stance and of the stance of life is happening for me and through me, meaning that I am the creator. And as the creator, I'm essentially in being informed by life. Now, when I say being informed by life, this is being in a state of being first and foremost before a state of doing. It's the feminine and masculine principle. The feminine is in this state of being, and even in the state of being, it's chaotic, it's wild, it's creative life force energy pulsing through us. And then the state of doing is taking that inspired action. What I mean by that, it's following your highest joy and excitement and bliss in all moments to the best of your ability. The formula is actually quite simple. What gets in the way is the mind, the ego, because there's an inherent distrust that if it's this simple and I follow my excitement based on what I'm being formed in my state of being, then it can't be that easy, right? Everything is the ego is all about complexity. The soul is all about simplicity. And when we tap into a state of simplicity and we actually inform ourselves day in and day out doing this and practicing this and putting this into action, we begin to see how we have really complicated life in so many ways that the script has already been written. You're the actor, you're the writer, you are the producer, you're everything. And when you claim that and own that and embody that fully, then life becomes a lot more effortless. It doesn't mean there won't be challenges, won't be adversity, but the way in which you meet that adversity and those challenges completely change. There's things that still come up in my life that obviously like, oh, I really got to move through this, but it's not something that's like, okay, I trust this is happening so that it's allowing me to forge a greater part of my spirit and deepen my relationship to God, to source itself. And so when we're in the other state, the ego state, it's the self-saboteur, right? Trying something new is scary to the ego. Getting out of the comfort zone is scary to the ego. And so there is this sort of internal battle that's happening at all times. And so it's our job to rise above all odds, rise above what the Kabbalah says, Satan, right, which is already within us. Rise above adversity. This is all what we're doing. We're overcoming and we're beginning to master the mind and master our state of reality through practicing this. And, there's always going to be 1,000 reasons why you can't do something. There's always going to be. It's always going to be there. But the more that you put this into practice, being and then doing from this inspired place, you begin to see and trust life, how it works out in the most miraculous ways.
is that what you've done? You said back in 2016 when you started doing podcasts, you had
Mhm.
that nervous energy, you doubted yourself, all that sort of stuff. Is this the practice you've done, or has it evolved over time to now?
It's essentially what I've done since the moment I left my corporate job and quit, receiving thousands of dollars of paychecks every single week to going and moving to Tanzania, Africa, where I was basically living on $150 a month, living in a shack, cooking over a fire. These are the moments that and I continuously do that, right? It's always stepping in deeper into the fires of transformation and being forged by that and being humble to life to allow life to mold and shape me. Like the way I look at it is that we have a finite amount of time living in this avatar, right? And perhaps if you're of the belief you come back many times and you're in different avatars, great. But just focusing on this avatar, this life experience, every single person has an inbuilt destiny, has an inbuilt purpose, has an inbuilt mission that you've come here to Earth for. Your job is to wake up and to discover that. We've been in an illusion of forgetting, of amnesia, and this planet doesn't help us in many regards to get us back into our power. It's actually trying to separate and divide us further from that power. And so when we actually answer the call of our soul and step deeper into that, that is when we can truly begin to become the creator of our lives. But it is that daily decision to do things that make you uncomfortable. There's no way around it. You have to step into the fire, and life will always present you with circumstances to get you out of what it is that's sort of keeping you small and keeping you stuck. Now, a lot of times the fear is going to arise as a result. And so when you go deeper into the wellspring of fear, you realize that it's actually just the fear of fear itself. Fear is one grand illusion that we've decided to play and have as a part of this dualistic game that we play on Earth. But really, it's all a video game because you're already of the essence of love. That's your true nature. We've have fear as the polar opposite to help us learn how to love and how to step into love. And I'm not speaking romantic love, I'm speaking to the all encompassing eternal love that is who we are as source.
To find that and step into the fire, is it things like you've spoken about going into a cave for several days, doing different things like that? Like, can you talk about those experiences and are they necessary for stepping into that fire, going through change and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody has different ways to go about this. It's not there's no formula. What I've done doesn't have to be someone else's experience, and I just want to make sure I put that out there first and foremost.
Mm.
As someone that is always desiring to understand the deeper layers of who I truly am, these experiences, which seem probably quite extreme to someone on the outside, they are ways in which I've initiated and self-initiated myself into, becoming more authentic, becoming truly, more of who I am and the man sitting here having this conversation today. Now, the things like, yeah, the dark room that you speak of going into a cave for 5 days in pitch blackness, sensory deprivation, that's an extreme case. Do I recommend everybody do that? Actually, I think, in fact, if everybody did do that, we'd live on a totally different planet. It gives you an immense amount of gratitude for your life, and it allows you to experience heightened states of consciousness without even taking any psychedelics, which also is another route, another initiatory route. So there's many ways to chop it up here. And for me, I go to the extremes. I go to the Amazon and I sit with elders and with shamanic healers and sit with the medicine of ayahuasca. I go to Africa. I go into the dark room. I do these things because it's a call for my soul, and that's my own personal path that I'm walking. Again, what's true for me may not be true to you, but there will be circumstances, even on the smallest of details, of having to sort of push yourself to get up 20 minutes earlier and breathe before you start your day. That's uncomfortable at first. It's going to be like, why am I doing this? It might be going and leaving this particular relationship that I'm in because it's not serving me at this very moment and it's exhibiting a lot of old programming and conditioning, and to rise above that to go into something new or to leave this job or whatever it might be. I mean, it could be any number of things, but any of these situations in which we have to make hard or perceivably difficult decisions, that's when our spirit is tested, and that's when we can start to really grow. And really, at the end of the day, what is the ultimate purpose of humanity? It's literally to evolve. Like that's our, if we have a collective shared purpose, it's to evolve. It's to be alive and to like really be in the gift of this human experience and to evolve. That's our soul came here, and this is an earth school, and all our job is to go through the curriculum and pass these tests that come our way.
100%. And as you were saying that, I'm just thinking over all the guests I've had. Each guest is chasing something, whether it's pushing their body physically in a marathon, starting a business, non-for-profit, whatever it is. They're always changing and evolving and pushing into that uncomfortable zone and growing.
Mm.
And that's generally why I get them on the podcast, because they have that energy about themselves. And yeah, it makes perfect sense. What is up, everybody? If you are vibing with this content and you want to start implementing it into your day-to-day life to find your true form, but you're not sure how, don't stress. I have got you covered. I have created a cheat sheet from over 270 podcast episodes. 9 things that just keep recurring, episode after episode, guest after guest. These 9 things are going to have a massive impact on your overall health and wellness and just well-being as well. Each thing I give you, let you know why it's important, break it all down, but most importantly, I let you know how to implement it into your day-to-day life. Information's great, but unless you know how to use it, then it's kind of useless. And it's all in there. It is 100% free. All I want you to do is just implement, find your true form, and start living a long, healthy, happy life. Check it out in the show notes.